This is a story of magic, and a magic story. The story of a man and his company that made magic boxes, puzzles, and educational toys for the children of the world. At first, it was magic boxes and puzzles that were made by the Misto Manufacturing Company. AC Gilbert was an accomplished magician who used this skill to help put himself through Yale University Medical School. While he had an eye on sports medicine, and his teachers saw the promise of him becoming a great surgeon, he found part-time magic had become a full-time business. It was 1909 when the fun all began. He and his business partner, John Petrie, made magic tricks sold in little boxes from their fledgling company in New Haven, Connecticut. But then, in the fall of 1911, as AC Gilbert was traveling along the New Haven Railroad for a sales meeting in New York City, he was inspired for the world's greatest toy, the Misto Erector. From his train, he saw the girders being put in place for the electrification of this railroad. When his meeting in New York City was over, he rushed home to his wife Mary, and the two of them, with scissors and cardboard, mocked up the designs for the girders of steel that we all know today as the Gilbert ERECTOR set. Unlike the mechanical construction sets of the time from England, Gilbert devised an ingenious groove in the basic metallic strip. Put 4 of these groove strips together, and you had an extremely solid girder, strong enough to stand on, or so read the advertising slogan. With an Erector set, you opened up an entire new world of toys when you opened the box. "Hello, boys, make lots of toys." That was the motto of the AC Gilbert Company. Gilbert was a genius for gimmicks to boost sales. Here is the Erector Engineering Pin, awarded from the Gilbert Institute of Engineering. Erector toys were built with girders of steel with real nuts and bolts. Look at those gears that really did something. AC was more than a manager-president. He actively participated in his plant's operation. He had the final say in the red paint used to decorate the Erector set parts. If the paint did not match the color of the cocktail shaker in his desk drawer, it had to be remixed. After all, it is Erector Red. But just who was AC Gilbert? He was born in Salem, Oregon on February 15, 1884. This special American flyer car was issued to celebrate the 100th anniversary of his birth. He was an athlete, an Olympic gold medal winner, a graduate of Yale University, and a businessman, founder and first president of the Toy Manufacturers of America. In World War I, he was known as the man who saved Christmas when he convinced the Council on National Defense that toys were an essential part of a child's education. He was always at the forefront of technology, the owner of the 6th licensed radio station in the United States of America. He was a sportsman and a hunter, and many of the houses in the New Haven area were built by Gilbert. But mostly we remember him as a friendly man who lived in paradise among his co-workers and built all kinds of wonderful educational and scientific toys for the girls and boys of the world. And what did his plant make? From the Gilbert Hall of Science flowed all sorts of toys, ranging from construction toys to Geiger counters, and all with a common theme: scientific, educational. This is the Gilbert Chemistry Lab. Professor Robert Treat Johnson of Yale and many other college chemistry professors were astonished at the increased size of their classes and the growth of the chemical industry in the United States during the 1920s and 30s. They attribute this growth to the fact that their students once owned a Gilbert chemistry set. Then there was the Gilbert microscope that always came equipped with specimen. One of the most interesting of the specimen was the fly. And this fly came from Gilbert's Milk Company that supplied milk for the Gilbert factory employees at lunchtime. During the height of the uranium exploration era in the early 1950s, Gilbert built a Geiger counter and an atomic energy lab. His factory made more than seasonal toys. To keep the factory in operation all year round, Gilbert made appliances like this Polar Cub fan, a vacuum cleaner, and food mixers. Fractional horsepower motors were the basis of success for the AC Gilbert Company and these appliances. The basis of success of fractional horsepower motors is enameled wire. AC holds the patent on enameled wire. General Electric said it couldn't be done, but AC said to his engineer, John Lance, "I'll support you and help you make enameled wire work." AC did just that. It took a lot of work and experiments and many failures. Even though UL would not approve the Polar Cub fans that used the newly invented enameled wire, AC stuck to his guns and sold the fans. The public bought them, and they worked. When the other big companies began to use Gilbert's wire, UL approved. A toy company did what mighty GE could not do. Today, 100 years later, electric motors still use enameled wire. However, many of us remember Gilbert for their magnificent line of scale model toy trains. Gilbert entered the train business in 1938. W.O. Coleman, head of the Chicago company that manufactured American Flyer trains, entered into an agreement with AC Gilbert to take over the AF O-gauge train line for a 12-year royalty. AC Gilbert had great plans for the American Flyer trains, plans to make them more realistic, more true to scale. But before that could take place, war broke out, and the entire nation, as well as the entire Gilbert toy factory, was converted to the war effort. Early in the war, Gilbert's chief engineer, Marshall Frisbee, designed a tiny motor for the trim tabs on the Curtiss Wright P-40, the Grumman Hellcat, and other fighter planes. Gilbert won Navy E awards for building parachutes, mines, booby traps, and flares. But as the smoke cleared and the last gun was fired, our boys came home to a new kind of train. It was so realistic you could even smell the smoke. It ran on realistic two-rail T-track that was flat on top for better traction. After the war, the Gilbert Hall of Science was rededicated, with AC himself handing out the cake. Boys' clubs were formed where American Flyer trains and Erector sets were the play of the hour.
There she is. All right, start laying on the track. Okay. Hey, Corbin, it sure looks strong.
And what kind of trains did they build? During their heyday, there was a basic Atlantic, found in many starter sets. A basic Pacific, both die-cast and in plastic. There was the beautiful K5. And the 464 Hudson. A cute little 080 switcher. And then, of course, there was the behemoth of the rails, the gigantic 484 Challenger. The GP7 switcher. The New Haven Electric. And the magnificent Alco PA1. And how did they go together? Easily. They were engineered and built in a factory where AC's 2,500 skilled coworkers knew what they were doing. Besides the trains themselves, there were the accessories, like this oil drum loader. And the sawmill. Catch this baggage loader. And the mail car. This is an accessory that AC Gilbert himself invented. Even before World War II, Gilbert had produced one of its most popular AF accessories. But when it was first introduced in 1939, it did not go over very well at all because of a very complicated name, the Acousticon. After the war, it was renamed simply Talking Station and became a big hit. Look at the cam mechanism that halts the train and then resumes its travel while a 78 RPM record plays the sound. This was a breakthrough technology for the mid-20th century. And there were many sets that were made over the 20-year period that American Flyer was produced by Gilbert. Between 1946 and 1966, some of the most beautiful toy trains ever built came from the Gilbert factory. The track and the accessories. Automatic rolling stock. Beautiful passenger cars. And all of these products came out of the plant on Peck Street at Erector Square. It was a beautiful plant, 300,000 square feet. Then one day in 1961, at the age of 76, AC Gilbert no longer was there to inspire his company. His driving spirit died with him. At the same time, an evolution in American youth was taking place. It was square to play with trains. Only nerds did science or assembled erector models. The AC Gilbert Company was still firmly entrenched in expensive, elaborate, last forever metal toys, but the country was only receptive to inexpensive plastic toys. Toys were becoming a commodity sold in discount retailers' warehouse stores. A toy fad lasted maybe half a year, soon to be replaced by the next bubble-packed, self-displaying, quick-profit gimcrack. AC Gilbert never again emerged from the door of his plant. But what did come out was a bunch of junky-looking toys that would have made him turn over in his grave. Yes, there were the trains, and race cars, and telescopes, and a few scientific toys. But puppets from a scientific and educational toy company? Man from Uncle? Whatever they were? Yes, this catalog sealed the doom of the AC Gilbert Company. The Gilbert Company, that had been taken over by the Rather Corporation, owners of the Lassie franchise who knew nothing about the toy business. Yearly sales from 1946 to 1965 had reached nearly $20 million a year. But in 1966, with returns of defective merchandise, sales plummeted. The company was dissolved, and the entire plant was auctioned off. The machines that die-cast our engines and stamped out our erector girders were sold to the highest bidder. The real estate was sold. The famous erector tower that had illuminated the New Haven skyline for decades was blown to the ground in a winter storm in 1978, stopping the trains on the New Haven Railroad. It was cleared off the track and then cut up for scrap. The plant was abandoned and became a shambles. Here's the pipe that drew off the solvents from the painting operation, and it became inhabited at first by a janitorial and maintenance supply company, then by artists who like loft factory buildings. Do you want to lease a part of the square? Oh, it's puzzling, and it's mystifying. Could it have been the advent of television that kept the kids glued to the screen and away from making toys with their erector sets or investigating inner worlds with their microscopes? And just where are those quality microscopes? And the good old erector sets these days? Oh, they're around, in the hands of collectors who cherish them and still build those wonderful models. And so are the trains that still chug along the intricate layouts. All of the tooling and dies for the Erector were sold to Gabriel Industries, which made a cheap imitation. In the year 2000, Erector was acquired by Meccano, its longtime competitor. Meccano continued to use the Erector brand in the United States until it was acquired in late 2013 by a Canadian toy company, Spin Master Limited, which hopes to revive steel construction toys. That's the world of business, where the dies and tooling for the AF trains went to Gilbert's greatest competitor, Lionel Corporation. But it's here with the kids and the trains that we hold on to the heritage of the AC Gilbert Company.
Grandpa, stop making the train go by. I'm getting tired of it.
Wow, Grandpa, that sure looks neat.
There it goes.
Push the red button. That one. Okay, now the green one. Okay. You loaded the log cart.
It's for the kids, for the girls and boys. That's why we continue building with Erector and keep the trains running. Because, after all, they are the ones who will inherit the legacy of the AC Gilbert Company.
Thank you.